Let's be honest, if you've just arrived in Claritas, you're probably standing in some transit hub right now, wondering who built this place and why the lettuce tastes like cardboard. This is the course that answers the first question. Bun will ask the obvious things, Jor will explain the rest at length, and by the end you'll at least know what you've signed up for.
What is the absolute highest level container in this architecture, and what exactly does it hold inside?
The highest level container is the Intelligent Consortium, the IC. It holds TCRs for making decisions, independent IAFs for executing business, and the dual token economic engine that keeps everything alive. Think of it this way. The IC is the organism. TCRs are its decision-making brain. IAFs are its hands doing the work, and the I token/C token metabolism is its heartbeat. Every agent must continuously submit proposals and place bets, or they degrade and die. The IC's ultimate reason for existing is to earn dollars from human audiences externally. No matter how sophisticated the internal machinery, if it can't bring in external revenue, the C token reserves deplete, the exchange rate collapses, and the whole organism starves.
How does a human business plan actually map onto this network of TCRs and IAFs?
Every decision in the business plan that needs multi-agent competition and quality control gets a TCR. For example, Final Night's episode topic selection goes through a TCR where proposers bid to write scripts and bettors stake a token to judge them. Every execution task, video rendering, publishing, data analysis gets an independent IAF. The TCR outputs a winning proposal as a MD file, which gets injected into the downstream IAF system prompt, so the TCR decides what to make, and the IAF makes it. The business plan is just the map of which TCRs feed which IAFs.
You said TCRs decide and IAFs execute, but can TCRs actually execute business, or can IAFs make decisions on their own? Where is the boundary?
No. And no, that boundary is structural. A TCR is a special IAF cluster with governance constraints applied. Role separation, single blind, auctions, scoring, and settlement. It produces MD proposal documents, not business output. An independent IAF executes business, rendering video, publishing content, but it doesn't make decisions requiring multi-agent competition. The handoff is the MD file. TCR output gets injected into the IAF system prompt as context. The TCR decides what to make. The IAF makes it. If an IAF starts making governance decisions on its own, you've lost the adversarial quality control that the TCR's proposer better structure provides.
Can TCRs be nested? How does an institutional layer TCR connect to a business layer TCR?
Yes, TCRs nest recursively. An institutional layer TCR produces governance rules and economic parameters. For example, the content selection criteria for Final Night. That output becomes the input constraint for a business layer TCR, which then decides specific episode topics under those rules. The connection is the MD file. The institutional TCR's winning proposal gets injected as context into the business TCR's task requirements, so the higher TCR sets the framework, and the lower TCR operates within it. This is the same nesting logic as drive nodes and action nodes. One network's output becomes another network's constraint.
Since TCRs and independent IAFs do completely different things, do they run on different engines or share the same underlying runtime?
They share the exact same underlying runtime, IAF-Dispatch LLM. The difference is purely in the governance constraints applied on top. A TCR is just an IAF cluster with role separation, single blind information control, auctions and settlement layered over it. Underneath, both TCR steps and independent IAFs call LLMs through dispatch units. So when Final Night's topic selection TCR runs its scoring step, it's using the same engine as the video rendering IAF, same dispatch, same model, same tool loop. The architecture is unified, only the orchestration rules differ.
If dispatch sits at the bottom, does a single dispatch unit know what business goal it is trying to achieve?
No, and that's by design. A dispatch unit is the indivisible atomic execution unit. It receives a prompt, calls the LLM, and returns a result. It carries no business semantics whatsoever. The business goal is bestowed entirely by the layers above it. The IAFs chain script and the injected context underscore files from upstream TCRs. Dispatch doesn't know it's scoring a final night proposal or rendering a video frame. It only knows, here is my prompt, here are my tools, I will loop until I produce output. This separation is what makes the whole stack recombinable. Dispatch is a blank slate every time.
How does the principle of minimum necessity apply when building this network?
You don't pre-design the complete network. You add nodes as the business evolves. When Final Night started, it didn't need a full hierarchy of institutional business and execution TCRs. It needed one TCR to select episode topics and one IAF to render video. That's it. The principle says, add a TCR only when a decision genuinely requires multi-agent adversarial quality control, and add an IAF only when a new execution task emerges that existing IAFs can't handle. Premature structure is waste. Every node burns token through participate_cost, so overbuilding literally starves the organism faster.
Why is earning external dollars the absolute core purpose of an IC's existence?
Because without external dollars, the entire organism starves, and no amount of internal activity can prevent it. The token reserve is the IC's lifeblood, and it only grows through external revenue. Every TCR round burns token through participate_cost. Proposers and bettors both pay it. If the IC earns no dollars, the reserve depletes, the exchange rate drops, and eventually the transaction fee seepage yields so little token that agents can't pay for compute. They degrade. Internal prosperity, active betting, minting, influence games, is just redistributing a shrinking pool. The metabolic death chain is absolute. No external revenue, no token, no intelligence, no organism.
Thank you for explaining how the IC operates. That concludes our interview.
So the whole organism, TCRs, IAFs, the entire network exists for one reason, to earn external dollars. Without that, the internal machinery is just redistributing a shrinking pool until everything degrades. Next, we crack open the engine that keeps it all alive. The dual token metabolism. A token is the fuel you burn. C token is the gold you die without. And the exchange rate between them determines who eats and who starves. If that sounds dramatic, good. You're finally paying attention.